everyone, and welcome to episode 18, The Law of Attraction. Is it real? I'm Sharri Harmel, certified life coach, as well as creator of The Real You. Well, today's conversation is all about the law of attraction and what it means when we are trying to reorganize, reinvent, or recapture joy in our lives. As you know, my business is all about helping women to step into their real and true selves. But stepping into the real you requires that you make some changes, and the law of attraction will support you in making those changes. But first, let's go backwards a little bit. You have to know what it is that you want. And I'm going to reconnect the real you to the law of attraction because if you know what you really want and it's authentic and real to you, then it can happen. Then the law of attraction works. If it's not authentic and not true to you, it's not going to happen. This is where vision boards sometimes miss that crucial step, which is to know what it is that you really want and whether or not that aligns with who you are, the real you, the true you. So, an example of when the law of attraction doesn't work. As many of you know, at the very end of 2012, actually Christmas 2012, my 23-year marriage officially ended. But during the marriage, I kept looking for a home that would make my husband happy and therefore he'd love me. I kept fantasizing about how great our relationship would be if we just had the right home. I had convinced myself that having the right home, the perfect home, was the answer to my marriage problems. Well, we had 6 homes during our 23 years together. None of them made my husband love me because truly the home wasn't the problem. Now, you might be thinking that this conclusion is incredibly obvious. Of course, it wasn't the home. But let me ask you, where are you seeking band aids to create the change that you want to embrace in your life? Is the way to finally get those pounds off just finding the right gym or the right weight loss program? Let's say you want to find the perfect partner again. You want to find the right man this time. So, are you looking for a little nip and tuck, or even bigger, a massive overhaul that's going to make you look young enough to attract what you think is the right man? Or do you find your confidence just by having the right purse, the right shoes, or the right outfit? All of these wants are band aids. And unfortunately, you won't get what it is you are really seeking when the examples that I just laid out are really good health, love, and confidence. This is why vision boards, which are based on the law of attraction, often don't work. So, your very first task is to figure out what it is that you really want. Not the stuff, not the place, not the image, but what you really, really want. So, examples would be that I want a loving partner relationship. Maybe it's a few good friends who are your peeps. Maybe it is that you want to feel confident and comfortable in your own skin, just as you are today. Maybe it's time. You want the time to basically focus on your purpose in this world. Whether you're an artist who's desperately needing to paint, or a people person who sees a gap at her church and wants to create a women's group. To have the time to do it might be what it is that you really, really want. Well, 2 years ago, I moved to Minneapolis for a pre-planned short stint. My intention, and truly my core want, if you want to call it that, was to support my daughter through some very difficult times that she was having and to grow closer to my son and his children. But also, I hadn't lived in Minneapolis for almost 15 years. So I had very few connections. I knew I wanted to find some good women friends. Plus, I knew that I loved to entertain and I wanted to find some ways that I could do that. Well, then this is where I got the idea to start and host a book club for several of my closest college friends. Now, it had a shaky start. In the very beginning, our conversations pretty much stuck to the book. But what was so interesting is that there was a tipping point where suddenly we began to talk and support each other through our challenges and trials. There's been recovery from divorce just in this 2 years, the death of a parent, the ending of a job. Plus, remember, I said I love to entertain? Well, I get to try out my crazy recipes and themed dinners on my book club gals. The point is that this worked because when I focused on what it was that I really wanted, which was connection with like-minded women and the opportunity to do what I loved, which is cooking and entertaining, the book club happened. The idea came, but it was only after I identified what it was that I really wanted. So imagine the feelings that you want to feel. The feelings will tell you what it is that you really, really want. So if you're seeking a weight loss program to be the answer to losing the weight and having a different life, I ask you to go deeper. My guess is that you want to lose the weight so that you can feel self-confident in your own skin. Well, what if you focused on feeling self-confident and comfortable in your own skin starting today? How will that change the way you look at food, the habits you have around food and exercise, the clothes you choose, how much care you take with your makeup? I hope you can now see that it is the feelings that you want to make the focus rather than the band-aids or the magic pill. That is what really makes the law of attraction work. So, after you've got the list of feelings that you want to have, go off, create that vision board. But what's next to make the law of attraction work? It's your mindset, ladies. This is how you think about yourself, how you think about the people around you, how you see the world. Our mindset is what messes us up every single time. Let me say that again. Our mindset is what messes us up every single time. Again, we can create the vision boards. Let's say you have an authentic vision board, which clearly communicates the feelings that you want to have. But if you don't work on your mindset, the vision board will just end up being pretty much a work of art. What's in that mindset? Let's start with how you think about yourself. First, you and you alone are in charge of your thoughts. It's like you're the programmer of your brain. You input how you want your brain to think, what you want your brain to think about, and it just keeps putting out exactly what you ask it to think. Imagine if we had Google, but we only had a few search words and none of them were positive. That's what's always happening in your mind. And yet, you probably wonder why you can't have more joie de vivre in your life. And I know because honestly, I have to watch myself all the time. We're humans. So therefore, mindset is going to be something that you work on probably for a long time, all the time. But the way to interrupt the thought patterns and habits that you've programmed yourself to think is to first observe, what is it, the thoughts that you are regularly having, and then have a constant alternative positive thought to replace it. Another way to kind of look at this, and this is a little bit out there, pretend your mind is a television and you have the remote control. Now, I created this crazy system as a child. If scary things came into my mind and I lived in a very, very anger-filled home, I would pretend my thoughts were like different television shows so that when I blinked my eyes, I changed the channel. Just try it. If a negative thought comes in, blink your eyes and change the channel. Your alternative channels are those positive affirmations that we'll create next. So let's move on to those positive affirmations. Last week, in the episode titled Recapture Your Joie de Vie, I talked about a process of creating positive affirmations. And if you didn't listen to it, go back if you can to podcast, I think it's episode 17, to hear more about how to create these positive affirmations. But we'll go through it very briefly right now. You'll need your journal. Now, pick out a page in your journal, and I want you to go through those negative, list them out, those negative thoughts that you have about yourself on a regular basis. Don't go searching, just what comes to mind. These are the things I say to myself on a regular basis. Then on a different page in your journal, and you want it to be kind of a special area that you're going to mark within your journal, I want you to list out every positive accomplishment you've ever achieved in your life, every obstacle you've overcome, and every complimentary piece of feedback you've ever received. Now, obstacles might be that you made it through a horrendous divorce. Maybe you survived the sickness of your child, the loss of a job, maybe the abandonment of someone that you loved very much, a bad financial decision. Feedback might be that, someone told me I'm the best business advisor they've ever had. Someone told me I'm a wonderful friend, that I'm a good thinker. Your art is beautiful. You're a team player. So on this page in your journal, you've got, and it doesn't have to be all that organized, but you've got obstacles you got through, as well as wonderful pieces of feedback that you got from people. This is all good stuff. Now, ask yourself, when you look at these obstacles you overcame, ask yourself what character qualities you must possess to have gotten through those tough times. It might look like grit. I love the word grit. Ability to forgive, that you can see out into the future, that you're resilient, positive, you have empathy, you're very resourceful. Or another that's actually pretty big, you're a person who's comfortable asking for help, whether it's of a higher power or another human. Look at that page, and more likely you'll probably have pages that are filled with these comments and descriptions, and they're all about you, the unique and amazing you. So breathe in all those accomplishments, all those achievements, all the positive feedback, as well as the character qualities that you obviously have. And now go back to your list of negative thoughts. What you're going to do is, next to each one of those negative thoughts, you're going to create positive affirmations to counter them when they come up. Write them in your journal. So if one of your negatives, as an example, is I'm terrible with money, on the positive side might be that I'm resourceful. I've set up a money tracking system that works. Do that for all those negative thoughts that continually come up into your mind, and you will be ready to change the channel when anything negative or even scary enters into your thoughts. Make a game of it, and I promise you, pretty soon you will have reprogrammed your thinking. You want your mind to really only have good and supportive channels. So put those positive affirmations everywhere. I know we've all heard this, but put them on your phone, in your car, on the bathroom mirror. And something really fun to do is to say your positive affirmations to yourself while you're looking in the mirror. There's all kinds of research about how important self-talk is. One of those will probably start to show up as your go-to affirmation, the one that you have to use when you can't look at your phone or you're not in your mirror. One that I have, and I learned it from Lisa Thomas, who's an absolutely wonderful energy healer. Mine is cancel, cancel, only love is spoken here. So when I'm beating myself up, that's my go-to affirmation. Cancel, cancel, only love is spoken here. Okay, now you've got your affirmations, and you might be wondering, well, how does the law of attraction really work? Well, there's something in our brains called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. And it's a bundle of nerves that sit right back in the base of your brainstem. And it filters all the data that's coming into our brains, the colors, the tastes, the sounds, the images. Basically, our RAS system lets in what it thinks is important. But who tells it what's important? You. A simple example of how this works is, and I think this has happened to every single one of us. Let's say you're thinking about purchasing a car. You've decided that you like the Honda Pilot. Suddenly, you'll see Honda Pilots everywhere. You told your RAS system what was important to you, which was you're starting to look at buying a new car and it's a Honda Pilot, and it pays attention. So, how does the reticular activating system work in the case of negative thoughts? Let's take one that maybe you regularly say to yourself. Maybe it's, I can't lose weight, I'll always be a fat girl. I've said that one. Your RAS system says, this is important, and it needs to show you proof that what you are thinking is actually true. So you walk into the grocery store, the first thing you'll see is candy. You'll wander down the chips aisle. Just get a couple of those. And truly, you'll find yourself wanting to munch on bad snacks all day long because your RAS system read that that's important. I can't lose weight, I'll always be a fat girl, therefore I need to eat. It's taking care of us in a sense. But in contrast, if you think, I'm a healthy eater and I rarely, if ever, snack, you'll enter the grocery store and front and center will be the beautiful veggies. You'll be seeing Chris Carr's cookbook. Chris Carr is a great cookbook author, actually. You'll see her cookbook everywhere. You'll start to get emails from Chris Carr. You'll also notice that if you do want to snack, that you're craving an apple or maybe a small piece of cheese. You control what your RAS focuses on. Isn't that cool? You're like CEO of your mind. You decide what you focus on, what you think about, how you look at the world, what you obsess about. It's all you. That, my dear ladies, is how the law of attraction can really work in your life. If you want to dive a little deeper into the topic of how to make this law of attraction work for you, I've got my brand new 3-week mini course titled Recapture Your Joie de Vie coming out on the 16th of February. Wow, would be a wonderful Valentine's Day gift to give yourself. And that is truly how you love the real you. And because 2020 was a tough year for many people, I'm offering the course at a huge discount. So just go to my website, sharriharmel.com, and sign up. I'd just love to have you join me as we step into the real you and make 2021 our best year ever. As always, Thank you for listening. And if you liked this podcast, please write me a review because reviews do matter. A biento. See you soon.